Hi everyone, this is Hiba from My Little Journal, and today I'm going to be working in my daily journal. I'm setting up July 2022, and as always, I always start with these monthly tabs from the Passion Planner. I say this all the time, everything I mention and use in my videos will be linked in the description box for you. Now, once I add my tab, I'm going to start by using these alpha stamps from Studio Calico. This is the Tucker Alpha. I've been using this throughout the year and I love kind of sticking to the same alpha over and over. But I'm going to stamp July, and because July is such a short word, I thought it would be smart to use like one stamp set that has like bigger stamps just to fill out the space around July. Now, this stamp from Studio Calico was the perfect stamp to use for my title page. It's all about July 4th, and I can use it to kind of theme up my title page, even though I usually don't do themes. But I'm going to stamp the popsicle in between my Y, and I love this popsicle. It has the American flag. I'll also use the rainbow. I'll stamp All American, Land of the Free because of the brave. And I just really like how it's very red, white, and blue heavy, and it just represents the 4th of July. I'm gonna stick to this stamp set only just because I want to start trying to work on these pages faster. Honestly, editing these videos takes a long time because I'm creating so much in my daily journal. So I decided to try to keep these spreads for the month pretty simple and basic and kind of stick to certain stamp sets just so my editing doesn't take so long. Anyways, once I add all the stamping, I'm gonna grab some washi tape as well. Add some washi tape in the corner. I'm going to add my border around my title page. I love adding borders to my pages. It just grounds everything. And I don't know, it just makes things complete. I also wanted to mention that I purchased the new ruler from Archer and Olive. Love this thing. It took me a bit of time to figure it out and how to use it, but it's a great little ruler if you don't have one. I'm going to be honest, if you do have a ruler, you really don't need this one. It's okay to just count yourself. But I really wanted to try it out and thought I would mention it. I like that it is metal, so it's definitely going to last me longer. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and add my border. I will add my washi tape and add like some shadowing to July with my gray Tombow marker. Now that I'm done with my title page, we can move on to week 26. Now, week 26 or the month starts on a Friday, so I have plenty of space. So I decided to go big and bold with this one. I have these beautiful floral stamps from Altenew, and I thought they would be fun if I just added them in the corner, had the space to hold my week and my calendar, probably stamp a little title for my page. And then basically I can add little boxes for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm just going back and forth between colors. I wanted to make this pretty bright and beautiful. It is summer, and I didn't want to just stick to July 4th theme throughout my pages. You guys know I like to change it up from week to week, just so when I am journaling, I don't get bored. So I went with the flowers. It looks amazing. I'm going to bring in some mustardy yellow and some pinks to this spread. And I just really love how this turned out. It came together really quickly. And honestly, it was what I envisioned. So I was happy about that. But I did want to mention real quick, I've been asked a lot about stamps. and where to get certain types of stamps. While I'm sitting here stamping, I thought I would answer this question. But if you love floral stamps, I definitely recommend Altenew. They have beautiful floral stamps in all kinds of different shapes. And if you are looking for full alphas, I recommend Studio Calico and the Paper Person shop. There's so many amazing shops out there that sell great stamps and different types of stamps. I also really love Carrie Bradford. Her fonts and her alphas are gorgeous. Again, I always try to link everything I use in the description box for you. Some of my links are affiliate links, and I appreciate you for using them, and some are not. I just share everything I love and everything I purchase, and I just link them in the description box. So if you are looking for some fun, pretty stamps, I definitely recommend to check out my description box where I share all the brands and companies I like to purchase from and use. Now that I'm done stamping out my florals and my little title, I just stamped "You Will Do Great Things." I stamped the week and my calendar, and now I'm moving on to the days of the week where I'm going to stamp Friday through Sunday. I'm using an old Paper Person shop stamp set. This is one of my favorites, and I get asked about it all the time. Hopefully she can bring it back because it is a special stamp set. Again, it's one of my favorites. But anyways, each day has a little space, kind of like a bar where you can add the date or something. I thought it would be fun if I filled some of those out with this botanical stamp set from Carrie Bradford, just to add some color and interest to the days of the week. And while I had my stamp out, I thought, you know what, I can add leaves to my boxes as well. So I just go with it. I go back and forth between different greens and shades of greens and black and stuff like that, just to add some interest. And then I'm gonna grab my Tombow marker, fill out those bars with some mustard yellow to match my flowers, fill out the dates, and then add my boxes. Now for my boxes, I have been freehanding it. I am trying really hard to get better at it and have straighter lines without using a ruler. I feel like it gives it that more handmade style, and it looks more authentic than just using a ruler. So I'm trying really hard. Sometimes my boxes are wonky, but you know what? It's okay. It's just a daily journal. It's just for me. No big deal. I always say this, don't overthink it. This is a journal for you, and enjoy it. Even if you mess up, it's not a big deal. Now to finish off my page, I'm just going to grab my gray Tombow marker, add my lines to my boxes, and then we can move on to week 27. So I'm going to say this right away so you're not confused. I planned none of this. I didn't write anything down, which is kind of crazy because if you've been like doing these daily journals, sometimes you have to draw things out just so you can keep up with where your boxes are going to fall and where you're going to be stamping. But I thought I'm just going to freehand this. I'm just going to go with it, no planning, nothing. And they turned out pretty good. I'm not mad at it. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead, or I went ahead and stamped the calendar, my week number, and now I'm using this stamp set from Studio Calico to stamp the days of the week. Like I said, I had no idea what I'm doing, but I knew I wanted to create some fun little boxes in different sizes. So that's why you can see here that my days of the week are all over the place. Also, a great way to ground your days of the week is to use some type of stamp, maybe a shape or something very basic, just to add underneath each day. And it's a great place for you to add the dates as well. You're going to see me here. I'm going to grab my date stamp from Everyday Explorers to stamp out the dates. And then I want to make this very summery, or I want to use icons that represent that it's summertime. So I'm going to use a stamp set from the Paper Person shop that had the American flag, and I'm going to stamp that on the 4th. I will also stamp like a little swimsuit, a fan, sunglasses. It's such a cute little stamp set to add some icons in there. And to bring in some color, I'm going to grab my markers and color all the things just to give that pop of color that I'm looking for. And it's going to look very summery. And once I add my journaling, when I get to this week, it's going to look even better. Honestly, I always feel like when I create these spreads, they look kind of bland sometimes, but when you add stickers later on and journaling, it all comes together very, very nicely. Again, I'm not going to be using a ruler. I'm freehanding this and it actually turns out pretty good. Now, once I'm done, I remembered that I had a stamp from the paper person shop that had Birkenstocks, and I've been wearing Birkenstocks nonstop lately. So I decided to grab that stamp and stamp it in the corner of Wednesday. And it had a little filler. And when I fill it out with the yellow ink, it just looked very bland. There was no dimension to it. So what I decided to do is use my markers and color in my Birkenstocks to make it look more like Birkenstocks. So I always recommend this. Use your markers to bring in color, to add some shading to your boxes. It's really the little things, you guys, completes your spread. There was one thing that I didn't like about the spread is where my flag is hanging. It just looked like it was just sitting there, but I might go back in at some point and kind of add a pole to it or something like that. But anyways, you guys, we are done with week 27. Let's move on to week 28. Now, for week 28, I start with my calendar and my week. I had no idea what I'm using for this week, but I just went through my stamp sets and I found one of my stamps from Ellen Hudson had a large like screen. And I thought this would be fun if I stamped the screens to hold the days of the week and maybe stamp in there some fun little icons. And I'm so happy that I decided to do that, even though it's not gonna come out perfect, my lines basically, but I really love how this spread turned out. I end up stamping someone diving, and I stamp like a swimmer, and I stamp some palm trees, a beehive, a popsicle, all kinds of things in my little screen. And I'm going to also stamp the dates in there as well. I'll stamp the days of the week, and it's going to look so cool and different. I've never done this before, and I just love the idea. And I'm definitely going to do this again, but maybe do it better because when I stamped the days of the week, as you guys saw, that I stamped Monday in the screen and then thought better of it. So I stamped Tuesday kind of like on the base of the screen, and it looked better. But because I've already stamped Monday in the screen, I end up kind of doing it for every other day, if that makes sense. But anyways, no big deal. I just go with it. I'm going to grab all kinds of different stamps, fill out my screens, and then I'm going to grab that same number stamp from Everyday Explorers to stamp the dates inside the screens next to my icons. So I'm done stamping inside my screens. I just want to add the dates, and this is where I grab that Everyday Explorers number stamp to stamp 11 through 17. And I'm going to grab my pen and add my lines. Now, this is what I mean when I say sometimes you're better off planning a little bit. Maybe I should have went with pencil first and added the lines and measured and counted, but I didn't. So some of my boxes are kind of wonky, But again, no big deal. Next time I'll probably count just to make sure that I have the same space between each and every day. Anyways, I'm going to finish up my spread by coloring in my screens, and then I will use my gray marker to add lines through the boxes, and then we can move on to week 29. Okay, so let's start working on week 29. This layout is going to be extremely simple. I just went ahead and added the calendar. I stamped out week 29, and then I'm going to use one of my close to my heart stamp sets with the splatter. I used that stamp a few months ago, maybe, or I just kind of stamped the splatter in the center, then added my days. I'm gonna do kind of the same thing, but I'm gonna make it messier, obviously, because there's no planning. I'm just gonna stamp the splatter with some green ink and add it randomly for my days. I will go through my stamp sets and find like a really nice feature craft date stamp and stamp out the days of the week. I'll stamp the numbers in that splatter. I really wanted it to look messy. I was kind of going for that whole like I threw paint on there and I was done kind of look. But I really actually like how this turned out because it was so simple to put together. I literally just stamped the splatter, the days of the week, the date. I'll even grab the tiny splatters from that same stamp set and use some black ink to make it look more like splatter, if that makes sense. And I really like how this turned out. I even thought I'm not going to add boxes. I will just add lines here and there to break it apart a little bit. So when I come in to journal, I'm not confused. But I keep it really simple, add a little bit of washi tape and call it done. I'll end up coming back to this spread once I'm done with my layouts just to add more color because I added the lines to my days of the week and I didn't like how they didn't have color. And so I will come back in with a marker and add color to my lines once I'm done. Oh, and by the way, this time around, I did end up using a ruler because I was just going to add lines. I wasn't going to create boxes. So using the ruler made more sense. So I'm done with week 29. Let's move on to week 30, which is the last week of the month. So if you've watched my June setup, I created a spread where I added a circle in the center and then added the days of the week around it. That layout did not turn out like I envisioned it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to recreate it and try it again. I say this all the time. It's okay to scrap lift yourself and to repeat yourself. You don't have to come up with a different idea every single time you work in your daily journal. I mean, there's 52 weeks in the year, so you're gonna have to like basically repeat yourself. This time around, this spread turned out like I envisioned. I was really happy with it. I changed it up a little bit. And what I did, I used the botanical stamp set from Carrie Bradford to stamp leaves around my circle. It kind of turned out like a wreath, and I like how it turned out. It's actually really, really pretty. I just played around with my ink colors. I used different shades of green, a little bit of black, and then I'm going to grab one of my Studio Calico stamp sets. It had the summer on there. So I'm going to stamp summer right in the center with a little subtitle. I think I added sun-kissed or something like that, just to kind of represent summer and add a little something to the center of my circle. Also, this time around, I stamped the days of the week in the right place. I reminded myself like I wanted the days of the week on the opposite sides of my spread. and it turned out pretty cool. I don't know if you just noticed when I stamped summer, it was in the center of that fold. It fell in the fold, and so it didn't stamp perfectly. I'm fine with using my marker to fill it out. You will never tell, nobody will notice. And I do that a lot when my stamping isn't perfect, especially in my daily journal because it gets pretty bulky and hard to stamp in. But as you can see, I stamped the days in the week in the right place. I am going to add a little color to my spread. It's very green right now, so I go with this really pretty pink, and I'm going to add a little bit of that pink to my wreath. I will also grab the botanical stamp set again and add a few to the days of the week. Felt like they kind of looked bland just sitting there, so I end up using that same stamp set just to add a little something to it. I'm almost done with my spread. I do want to add the calendar and the week number. So I'm going to add it to some craft paper. I got this craft sticky note pad from Stationery Pal. Love that place. And I've been using it to just add a little color to my spreads here and there. So I end up using it to stamp my week and my calendar. I'm going to trim it out and just stick it right above summer. It was a great way to break down that circle anyway. And I had no other choice, honestly. I didn't know where to add it because everything was kind of filled out and done with. But I'm gonna flip through my spreads, and this is where I end up adding some color to week 29. I just add little things and tidbits here and there when I see it's needed. I'll even go back to week 30 and add some shading to the days of the week. I like to do that to my days of the week just to add some depth to them. Then I call my layouts done. Don't forget, I add everything I mentioned and used in my videos down in the description box for you. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.